We have to identify all pairs of angles of a given type. First, we have consecutive interior. So let me remind you first that two angles are consecutive interior angles if they lay between the two lines and on the same side of the transversal. And we know that transversal is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points. So let's draw example. Simple example 2a. Consecutive interior. When we have two lines and these two lines intersect, this is our transversal line. So the consecutive interior angles are angles which lay between the two lines, between these two lines, and on the same side of the transversal. So for example, if we have here angle 1, 2, 3, 4, so the consecutive interior angles are 1 and 3 and 2 and 4 between these two lines and on the same side of our transversal. So let's see to our diagram now. If we will take this line and that, and this first, this is our transversal. So the consecutive interior angles will be the angles which are between these two lines and which on the same side of our transversal. So if this is our transversal, so the consecutive interior angles will be 2, 5 and 4 and 7. So we have answer. So this is angle 2 and angle 5 and angle 4 and angle 7. Now let's look that this is our transversal which pass these two lines. So we have to find the angles which are between these two lines now and which are on the same side of our transversal. So now consecutive interior angle will be 3 and 9 and 4 and 10. So we have angle 3 and 9, angle 9 and angle 4 and angle 10. Next, let's now, this is our transversal. So we have to find angles which lay between these two lines now and which are on the same side of our transversal. So it will be 10 and 13 and 12 and 15. So angle 10 and 13 and angle 12 and angle 15. Next, this line will be our transversal of these two lines now. So consecutive interior angles will be 8 and 14 and 7 and 13. Let's remind you one more time. The consecutive interior angles lay between the two lines on the same side of the transversal. So 7, 13 and 8 and 14. So we have angle 7 and angle 13 and angle 8 and angle 14. Next we have to find alternate interior. Let me remind you first that two angles are alternate interior angles if they lie between the two lines and on the opposite sides of on the transversal. So let's draw now simple diagram of alternate interior. So let's do that. This will be our two lines, and these two lines past our transversal. This is our T, and angle 1 and 4. Let's put, and this is angle 3 and 2. So the alternate interior angles lay between the two lines and on the opposite sides of the transversal. So alternate interior will be 1 and 4 and 3 and 2. So if now this line will be our transversal, so alternate interior angles will between these two lines which are on opposite sides of the transversal. So we have 9, 4, 3, 10. So angle, we can write first 3 and angle 10, angle 4 and angle 9. Next, let's put that this is our transversal. So let's see between these two lines, and we have to choose alternate interior. So the angles must be on the opposite sides of transversal. So it will be 10, 15, 12, 13. And 12 and 13. Next, let's put that this is our transversal. So angles, alternate interior angles are on the opposite sides of our transversal and between these two lines. So 13 and 8 and 7 and 14. So we can write that 7 and angle 14, angle 8 and angle 13. Next, let's put that this is our transversal, and we have to look to angles between these two lines and opposite sides. So we have 2, 7, 4, 5 or 5, 4, it doesn't matter which will be first. So will be angle 2 and angle 7 and angle 4 and angle 5. Next, we have to find alternate exterior angles. Let me remind you first that two angles are alternate exterior angles if they lie outside the two lines and on the opposite sides of the transversal. So let me first draw example. This is our C, alternate exterior angles. So when we have two lines and transversal, so let's put that this is our 1, 2, 3, 4. So the alternate exterior angles lie outside of two lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. So it will be opposite sides and outside. So 1 and 4 are alternate exterior angles and 2 and 3. So we have now question C. Let's look to our diagram. And first, this line will be our transversal. We have two lines. Alternate exterior angles are angles which are outside of our lines and on the opposite side. So it will be 1 with 12 and 2 and 11. So we have angle 1 and angle 12 and angle 2 and angle 11. Now this line will be our transversal for these two lines. So we have to look two angles which are outside of our two lines and opposite sides of our transversal. So it will be 11 and 14, 9 and 16 angles. So we have angle 9 and angle 16 and angle 11 and angle 14. Next, let's put that this is our transversal for these two lines. So we have to find angles which are outside of our lines and on opposite sides on our transversal. So 5 with 16 are alternate exterior angles and 6 and 15. So we have angle 5 and angle 16, angle 6 and angle 15. And now this is our transversal for these two lines. So alternate exterior angles are angles which are outside of our lines, these two lines. We have so outside will be 1, 3 and 6, 8 and opposite sides of our transversal. So will be 6 with 3 and 1 with 8. So we have angle 1 and angle 8 and angle 3 and angle 6. And the last, we have to find corresponding angles. We know that two angles are corresponding angles if they have corresponding positions. So let's draw example. When we have two lines and this is our transversal, so this is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the corresponding angles have the corresponding positions. So it means they are above the lines and to the right of the transversal side. So in this example will be angle 2 with 6, 1 with 5 and 7 with 3 and 8 with 4. They have to have corresponding positions. They have to be above lines and on the right side or on the left side, both. So let's see to our diagram. Let's first, this line will be our transversal for these two lines. So we have to look to angles which are above lines and on the same sides. So it will be 2 with 10 and 4 with 12 and 1 with 9 and 3 with 11. So we have angle 1 and angle 9, angle 3, and angle 11, angle 2, and angle 10, and angle 4, and angle 12. So now let's put that this is our transversal for these two lines. So we have to look to angles which are above lines and on the same sides. So it will be 9 with 13, 10 with 14, 11 with 15, and 12 with 16. So we have 9 and 13, 10 and angle 14, and 11 and 15, and 12 and 16. Next, let's put that this is our transversal for these two lines. So we have to look to corresponding angles, so they are above, for example, above lines and on the right side and or on the left side of our transversal. It depends of where you are. If you are on here, for example, so above lines and on the same sides we have to look to the angles. So above will be, when you look from this side, 7 and 15, and 8 and 16, and when you are here above lines will be 13 and 5, and 14 and 6. So we have next examples of corresponding angles will be 5 and 13, angle 7 and angle 15, angle 6 and angle 14, and angle 8 and angle 16. And now let's put that this is our transversal for these two lines. And again, when you are looking to corresponding angles, you have to have corresponding positions. So if you are, for example, here, so we have to first look to angles which are above lines, for example, and on the right side. So it will be 5 and 1, 7 and 3 will be on the left side, 7 and 3. And when you are here, so above lines will be 2 and 6 on the left side, and 4 and 8 on the right side. So we have next examples of corresponding angles will be angle 1 and angle 5, angle 3 and 7, angle 2 and angle 6, and angle 4 and angle 8. This is my solution.